we'll get going here. So I'm Carrie. I'm from Fairfield County's Recycling Center, and today we're going to be talking about sustainability during the holidays. And for all the other counties, want to introduce yourselves? You can start with Coshocton. We'll go CFLP.
I'm Tammy Rogers with Coshocton County Recycling and Litter Prevention, and happy to be here today, and we'll go from there. Verdi?
Hi, I'm Verdi Abel with Licking County Recycling, kind of the education guy, and leave it at that for now.
And I'm Katrina Carpenter from Perry County Waste Reduction and Recycling, and I'm happy to be here.
Right, Tammy, if you want to take off your presentation, go for it.
Okay, I just put together some brief tips how to reduce, reuse, and recycle over the holiday season. Some pretty easy things we can all do to just, the main thing is reduce our waste. There's a reason why there are 3 R's, and that the first one is reduce. And that is because if we don't have as much waste, then we obviously aren't sending a lot of stuff to the landfill. And a lot of things that are being recycled, that's great, but it's things that we might not need to even put in to be recycled, or heaven forbid it becomes litter or it goes back into the landfill. So a couple tips on reducing your waste. Instead of buying things, consider purchasing tickets to, of course, in this beautiful COVID year, movies, concerts, events, things like that. We're all hoping 21 is going to be a better year for all those things. But think about even memberships to a local museum or a fitness center if you know people that like to be fit or go out to museums and do things like that. Instead of using a lot of wrapping paper, bows, etc., think about wrapping gifts in something else, such as a blanket, a scarf, or using the comic books or comic newspapers. Just find a way to, instead of be buying more and more and more, reuse what we already have. I saw a neat tip, which was for kids, instead of wrapping their gifts, make them a scavenger hunt map so that they have to go around and actually find their gifts. It gives them something to do. It's fun. They don't have to be wrapped once they found it. There it is. So I thought that was a really, really cute little tip there. And please, I beg you, stop with the disposable paper plates, paper cups, silverware, that kind of thing. Especially since we're not getting together in great big groups, there's no excuse not to do just a few dishes. So try and avoid using those disposable things, because honestly, that just is trash at that point. You use it once, it's done, and you're just filling up the landfill. The second R, of course, is reuse. And some people like to, myself included, I save tissue paper from gifts and so forth, and I just kind of flatten it out, fold it up, and I reuse it in gifts for the following year or the following event. Keep those whip topping containers, the lunch meat containers, the butter containers, and use those to send home with your guests with leftovers. And therefore, you're not throwing away those containers, and you're sending your guests home with some leftovers to enjoy later and not wasting food as well. When new gifts are replacing toys, clothes, appliances, and those things still have life, donate stuff. Get it out to local charities, homeless shelters, child care centers, churches, Salvation Armies, even the Goodwill. Think of ways that we can reuse these things instead of just tossing them in the trash. The last R, of course, is recycling. Look for recycled content on your greeting cards and your wrapping paper before you purchase it. That way you're completing the circle. You know that those goods have been made with materials that have been recycled. If you get a cut Christmas tree after the holidays, put it in the backyard, decorate it with some pine cones that have peanut butter and birdseed on it, and let the birds kind of have their little fun out in the backyard. Or if you have a pond or know of someone that has a pond, those make excellent fish for the little baby fish shelters for them to hide in and breed in and that kind of thing. And holiday baking often leads to more recycling. So think about all of your boxes, all of your cans, all of your jars. Instead of just throwing stuff in the trash, just take a moment, take a look and say, can this be recycled? And then go from there and set those aside for recycling. So those are just a few quick tips that I have on holiday recycling. And if anybody has any questions or you've got your own tips, I'd love to hear you chime in.
Doesn't goats like to eat the Christmas trees too?
Goats? I don't know that. Goats eat quite a few things, so it wouldn't surprise me. If the needles were too dry, I would think that it wouldn't be as palatable for them. But that it could be. It could be. And I know a lot of cities, Coshocton included, they do, after the holidays are over, if you don't have anything else to do with your Christmas tree, they do have a collection. And they take those up to a location to be, and they kind of just break down naturally. The county or the city has a location that those can be left to biodegrade by themselves.
Lancaster transfer station has the same thing where they'll pick up your tree and then they'll shred it down for composting. But they do that all year. If you have yard waste, you can do that, but you can add your Christmas tree in this time.
And I believe Licking County has a couple locations that accept yard waste and things like that, don't they, Verdi?
The most prominent one, I guess, is Elm Recycling on Mount Vernon Road, kind of in between Utica and Newark, but close to Newark.
Okay.
They take a lot of yard waste, branches, those types of things. They're looking to make mulch.
Right.
So they don't want grass trimmings or leaves, those types of things, but they will take Christmas trees. We do have a community that Utica actually has a community composting site where leaves and grass clippings can be taken for residents only, but that's pretty unique to have a community that just has an open composting site. Right. That's kind of neat. But yeah, we do have a few places in the county that will take those Christmas trees as well as other branches and things of that nature, and they shred them or grind them for mulch. So anyone in Licking County can contact us and we can put them in touch with those places.
Excellent.
Katrina, do you have anything like that in Perry that you know of?
Not as easily, no. We have New Lexington, the county seat, the park, it has a location where residents in New Lex can bring their trees and they mulch those. And whether or not they care whether they're out of town when they bring the tree, it's not a big deal, but they don't want tinsel and all that kind of stuff on them.
Right. Definitely.
We have we're rural. So we encourage people, if they know a farmer or someone with some open land, to put it on a brush pile to create wildlife habitat, drop it in a pond to create some fish habitat. It won't last that long, but it's not a bad thing to do. But that's pretty much the best options we can give people here. Otherwise, we send them to the big city. Like, do it.
Big city living. One thing that I want to know about wrapping paper is that wrapping paper can be made out of different materials. Sometimes it's made out of recycled material, sometimes it's made out of paper, but then you get the foil wrapping paper. And in our county, we can't accept foil wrapping paper. So if it's shiny and if it's really crinkly, don't recycle it. Just unfortunately have to throw that away. I don't know about you guys, but I'm assuming no.
Right. And things that have, glitter, I always tell people greeting cards, gift bags, wrapping paper, if it's plain, it's fine. Once you start getting into ribbons and glitz and glitter and all that stuff, no. Reuse it if it's a gift bag that can be reused. I'm a big fan of reusing those things. But otherwise, unfortunately, it's trash. It looks gorgeous, but it is trash. And, just make it into a hobby. This year, everybody has a little more time on their hands, maybe. Kids are home. Instead of buying the fancy gift bags, buy just the plain brown gift bags and then take those greeting cards that maybe you've kept over or that you've already received, cut those up, you know, cut the little pictures off of them, have the kids glue them on a bag. There you are. The kids have something to do for a day, and you've gone one step further in prolonging the life of things that might otherwise just be thrown in the trash.
We just made, go ahead, Katrina, sorry.
Nope, I was just going to say I concur.
We just did, to decorate our education room, we had a whole bunch of old holiday cards. So we made like little ornament, oh, you can't, kind of, there we go. Made little ornaments from old cards and stuff of that. And Verdi's actually getting ready to do, Licking County's going to do a workshop for reusable holiday crafts. So Verdi, if you want to talk about that.
Well, we're doing giveaway bags. We've done workshops before, but this isn't the year for workshops. So we're giving away some craft bags for people to make their own upcycled, recycled Christmas crafts or holiday crafts. Do you want to see those now, or do you want to see them at county update time, or is that where we're at?
We might be there. If there's no questions about holiday stuff, yeah.
Well, I've spent the last couple of weeks and actually the last month or so planning this, but over the last couple of weeks, I've been doing a lot of painting of things and organizing, and we are giving away bags of holiday crafts starting Monday. We've made 30 of them, first come, first serve. So I have been painting used wine bottles for snowmen. And or women, whichever you prefer. So I painted 30 white wine bottles, and we're going to provide all the stuff to make this basic design. If people want to add their own stuff, if they've got floral picks from, you know, artificial flowers and stuff, any of those holly leaves, whatever they want to do, they can add to it. But we're providing the eyes and all the stuff to make this particular design. I've been painting coffee K-cups to make little reindeer, K-cup reindeer ornaments. So we're again providing all of this material so they can make holiday ornaments. A snowman hat out of a K-cup again. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Get a paint that sticks to plastic, which going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it. Most people have some holiday ribbon lying around, a piece of black felt on the bottom for a brim, and maybe a holly berry or two on the front. And lastly, a pair of holiday bells made out of K-cups that can go on a Christmas tree. So all of that material is going to be provided with information or fact sheets to go with them on how to make all the goodies. And there's a recycling reminder and some information on how many K-cups are used, for example. Just to toss out all these fun facts, we, meaning the United States, drinks more than 450 million cups of coffee a day. And almost all of that has some baggage, whether it's K-cups or coffee cans or coffee bags, any of those things. Of course, there's usually some waste involved in that. I don't have thought I had the bottle sheet here. Let me see how many wine bottles we use a day. We use 4.3 billion bottles of wine a year in the United States, more than any other country in the world.
We could do better.
4.3 billion, mind you, with a B.
Probably more because of the COVID, you think, Verdi?
It could be more. But most states or local ordinance prevent the commercial reuse of these things. So they're either discarded in the trash, which ends up in the landfill, or they're recycled. Now, home vintners who are making their own wine can reuse them all they want. But here in Ohio, you really can't reuse these for commercial purposes. A lot of wineries will give them to you, or like Buckeye Winery here in Newark sells them for, I think it's $3 a dozen, which is much cheaper than buying them new.
Right.
And you know, of course, with the bottle comes some sort of cap or cork. So corks are wasted a lot as well. Just some facts that go on the fact sheets that we're handing out to everyone with the gift bag or the craft bag. And we're putting in some other information basically about Licking County recycling and recycling in general. So that's going to start Monday. It'll go just first come, first serve for the week. I don't think 30 of them is going to last very long. But after painting these things, 30 is plenty. Just for the record, trying to get a good coat of white on a wine bottle is very challenging. But I think I came up with a pretty darn good product after spraying each one about 4 coats. But we're finalizing packing those today and going to have them ready for Monday at 8 o'clock.
Excellent.
That's the big thing going on here over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Good.
Looks good, Verdi.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Can I add one thought on those bottles?
Sure.
What
if I were to say no? Go ahead.
No, I think that's a great craft activity idea to raise awareness about the whole topic of, as you said, the K-cups and the bottles. In Perry County, we can only accept clear and brown glass bottles and jars because of who we're dealing with. And so we've never been able to commit to taking all the other colors. So that's an excellent repurposing idea for all those green and blue bottles that I see get pitched at the recycling center. So it's an excellent.
Just to tag on to that for anyone who's on the road a little bit, up here in Newark, of course, we have Owens Corning, the fiberglass insulation company. There is not a subsidiary, but a partnering company called Strategic Materials. They will take any types of glass, whether it's window glass, auto glass, colored bottles and jars, any of those things, and it in turn is processed back into Owens Corning insulation. So if anyone wants to travel up here, get their information, they can contact us. Strategic Materials, located really close to downtown Newark, but it will be at least remade, recycled into a new product instead of going into the landfill.
That's really good information right there. That's really good information because we get a lot of people wondering what to do with glass windows that aren't any good to repurpose and type of thing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the glass market is so low right now. It's kind of nice to know that there's a place to take it it's actually going to be reused instead of just gotten rid of.
So Verdi, if they're willing to bring it up to you, any quantity to that location at Strategic?
Well, I would have to, you can check with them. I mean, they're a private business, so I can't speak for them. But I have talked to them before. They're extremely nice. And I believe it's any quantity. Of course, they want it cleaner the better, you know, that type of stuff. The traditional recycling rules go into play. But I can certainly get that information. I can post it to you guys so you have it. But I'm pretty sure any quantity, if it's clean glass, they'll make use of it.
Good to know.
Excellent. Good.
Katrina, do you want to share county news?
Sure. Yesterday, I participated in the Perry County District Library Family Night drive-through event. Melissa Maroltz, the director there, she's invited us to be there 3 times now, October, November, and now December. They usually do a monthly event for families in-house, and it's a pretty big, crowded together kind of thing, mostly young preschool, kindergarten, first grade age kind of children. And she does it drive-through, and she has a featured character or set of characters for each drive-through event. And yesterday was Mickey and Minnie Mouse. and Santa Claus. And so I kind of dress up like something. Last month I was a super recycle lady with my repurposed tablecloth cover cape with all the examples of things attached to the cape that you can recycle, and leggings, and looking like a real goober, but the kids respond to it. And yesterday I was Mother Earth, again, a repurposed big blue piece of material that I redid years ago, and I use a hula hoop to make the circle, and I'm who am I? And the kids are like, oh, Matt's kids came through with their grandparents, and they make teaching worthwhile. Little Pierce, he said, "You're the world." And I thought that was awesome. I said, and tonight I am Mother Earth Santa. I had this hat on behind me and this earth thing. So anyway, good turnout in that 6 to 7 time period. 1 hour we had 55 vehicles come through and over 200 parents and kids.
Nice.
So it was good. And I gave out a thermometer made from recycled plastic and a notepad that had been repurposed into, second side kind of notepads. So, and a couple little crafty activities for the families to do. Yep, and we're pushing our scholarship, our oral history scholarship project, and we're promoting the Green School Challenge, which next, on the 17th, there's going to be an education sharing kind of session, and I am crazy enough to volunteer to do a lesson on sharing how we managed to get through the compost experiment this fall, and share we're piloting this Green School Challenge. So that's what we're kind of pushing out to the schools to see if we can change behaviors within the buildings. So thank you.
Awesome. Tammy?
In Coshocton County, we're doing holiday string light recycling right now. So we've got 3 collection sites. I picked up on Monday morning and realized one of the sites is where I go and work out. And when I went to class last night, realized there were 3 more boxes in a big garbage bag full of lights. So I picked those up, and this is the 3rd year we've done it. And I right now have more than I had last year when I took at the end. So this goes on through this coming Friday. And we take those, of course, there's not a lot you can do to recycle string lights aside from they strip out the wiring and that kind of thing, but at least all of that is not going into the landfill, and it gives people a place to take those to make them understand, there are parts of everything that you can do something with. So it shouldn't just all, it's too easy to throw things in the trash. So that's my goal of trying to get people to understand you've got to take it one step further. But I'll keep you all posted as to what the actual poundage ends up being. And then lucky enough to have a local facility that will accept those for us. So I don't have to drive them too far away. But the back of that Jeep is full. And I have a feeling the middle is going to be full and the passenger side will be full when I take them. So we have a couple more days of that. Otherwise, it's just me banging on doors and telephones and windows and trying to get speaking engagements and get out there to people at situation usual or unusual for 2020.
That's awesome with your holiday lights, and people can bring them to our facility too in Lancaster to recycle lights. I mean, it's like you said, it's not much that they can recycle, but it is that wire, and at least something's being diverted.
Something.
Yeah.
Right. And it gets it in people's minds that instead of just throwing stuff away, they feel good about recycling. We feel good that it's not going in the landfill. And just getting out there and doing that little bit of community outreach is always a good thing.
Yeah, I like the idea of placing it around the county too. That way it really kind of gives, because it's like our
It
county.
gives ownership, right?
Yeah, so it
Right.
gets more and more, it's more outreach, it's more easy
Right.
accessible. I love
Yeah.
that idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah. What, of course, we have it here downstairs where you would come in if the public was allowed in. We have like a little area, and so there's a box downstairs from my office, but then we have a physical therapy location, so there's a drop off there, and then, like I said, the fitness center. So between the three places, they're strategically placed around town. People can get to them easily. They're not in a location where people have to, you know, worry about coming into contact with a lot of things. And those businesses are getting promoted because I'm hearing that PSA on the radio at least 2 or 3 times a day to take the string lights in. So our local radio station is fantastic about promoting our events and our things. So I've been thrilled with that.
Great.
That's awesome. Not much is happening right now in Fairfield County. I'm gonna do a school presentation virtual tomorrow and Friday, so I'm pretty excited about that. We're gonna talk about natural resources and how recycling helps preserve those. I'm prepping right now for a billboard contest. We always have that going on the first quarter of the year, so I'm just kind of getting a virtual layout where teachers can participate and schools can participate in, and then of course an in-person presentation. But while we're in red, we try to really reduce our visits, unfortunately, but we can always appear virtually. We're also starting a new contest. It's in the works. It's called Da Vinci a Recycling Bin. So we're going to send it out to high schoolers, to high school art classes, and they're going to compete and create a proposal, and they can have a couple proposals per school. And they're going to design a dumpster. Well, they're going to sketch a layout of what what painting they would want to put in the dumpster to tell a story, whether it's preserving resources, what the world's going to look like if we don't recycle, things of that. And then we're going to get a committee together where they can vote on the pieces, and then the winning school actually get to paint one of our dumpsters, which is really cool. And then they'll get a little something for their efforts. But that'll also be taking place during billboard season, so I'm excited to see how this goes. So I'll have the elementary schoolers and then I'll have the high schoolers, but that's something we're working on right now. But still collecting bottle caps upon bottle caps. We hit 200 pounds the other day for the one group that's in line, so only 2,800 more to go. So many caps, but they add up, and that's all that matters. So other than that, same stuff. So we're running out of time. So everybody have a great, happy holiday season. Recycle plenty in 2020, and you're gonna have to recycle plenty in 2021 too.
All right.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone. Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas, you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Bye.